Hi families! In this video, I am going to demonstrate how to do the Schilder test. That's the best standalone test for checking for a retained ATNR, or Asymmetrical Tonic Neck Reflex. When I see kids in the office, I usually use multiple tests to check for each reflex because that kind of helps with some testing error and things like that. But if you are only going to do one, this is the best and most accurate one, and it will usually show you if there's signs of this ATNR or other things going on. Now, if you want to learn more about doing reflex testing at home, I strongly recommend the book Reflexes, Learning, and Behavior by Sally Goddard. There is a lot of information online about checking for primitive reflexes. Some of it is good, some of it is terrible, but if you want one good source that you can go to get a little bit more information about checking these things at home, I highly recommend that book. Now, if you do this test or any of the others in that book and you suspect that your child has retained primitive reflexes, be very cautious about going online and Googling how to treat it and doing exercises. There are a lot of exercises out there that claim to treat primitive reflexes. Some of them are decent, some of them are terrible. And I've worked with a lot of kids that have done those exercises and get really overstimulated, especially if your child has a MORO, that's the infant startle response. You want to be really, really careful about trying things at home that target that reflex. It's really easy to overstimulate kids, and it's really easy to reinforce that response instead of working through it. Whenever I'm working with kids, I go very gentle, very slow, because it's really easy to overdo it and reinforce these responses. So if you suspect that your child has retained reflexes, then reach out to me or another primitive reflex specialist, and we can help you develop a program for your child that will integrate these reflexes without overstimulating them. Now, let's jump right into the Schilder test. So for this test, you'll have kids stand with their feet together, like this, touching, arms out in front in kind of a mummy position. They should be parallel to the ground. They should be nice and floppy and loose, nothing real stiff and tight out in front. And then once they're in this position, you'll have them close their eyes. Now, if you have a child that loses their balance and falls over when their eyes are closed, or that can't keep their eyes closed, or that closes their eyes and then startles open, then forget about it. Leave the eyes open. This test is a little bit less accurate if the eyes are open, but it's better than trying to fight through that. So have them get in this position, and then you'll turn their head to either side. When you grab onto the head, don't cover the ears, and don't squeeze too hard. Just be really gentle. If you're turning their head and you're feeling any neck tension or it's difficult, then just pause there and kind of make note of how much rotation you can get in their head. So hands up, you'll come behind them, you'll have them close their eyes, and then you'll go to the side. Go all the way to the side and pause. All the way to the other side, pause. You can go faster, slower, so. And if a child has an ATNR, you'll notice that they can't keep their arms up straight and out in front of them. So ideally, you'll be able to have the head move without seeing a lot of reaction in the body. If they do have an ATNR reflex, you're going to see some degree of motion in their shoulders and lower body. So what you'll see is something more like this. If it's really bad, you'll notice that their arms completely go around. If it's more mild, you might just see small degrees. If they have other postural problems or other reflexes, you may see some funky things in the arms. So they may kind of start to droop. You might see the whole body start to droop a little bit. You might see that their arms kind of get lost in space and that they don't stay nice and parallel. If they have vestibular or balance and coordination problems, you might see that there's a lot of movement when you're turning their head. They can't just maintain a nice straight posture. So if you do this test and you see anything like that, then please reach out to me or another primitive reflex specialist, and we can help get your child on a program to take care of some of these things and hopefully help with things like reading and writing and all the other school stuff.